school teaching, and I substituted a youth shelter in a place called Cecil, Arkansas, for the County Line School District. And every day at from 11:30 or 11:15 to 11:45, we have a writing assignment. And one day they said, Mr. DiPaolo, what are we going to have for our writing assignment today? I said, I have decided that you should write about someone, a character that you have known, a character. Not someone that you see every day, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, but a real character, someone who stands out above the crowd, stands for something, and is not afraid, is unabashed. What's unabashed? There's the dictionary. Oh, would you spell? No, look it up. And they said, well, you give us an example, and I did. I said, I have this whacked out friend in San Diego who stands above the crowd. He owns San Diego Harley. He's a veteran. He's my friend. And he even comes to Arkansas sometimes for midnight suppers. You never know about this guy. No kidding. Who was he? So I told him the whole story. He was an FO and everything. And I said, he is a character among characters, and he's my friend, and it's New York Myke.
Yeah!
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here. I'm a proud Vietnam veteran. I am proud of my service. I am proud of what we did. And I'm proud of Rolling Thunder. The 25th anniversary of Rolling Thunder. Let me tell you something about the Vietnam Veterans Wall. After I got back from Vietnam, and after a lot of you guys got back from Vietnam, you know how we were treated. The indignities, the degrading words that we used us, how they turned their backs on us, how they spit at us and degraded us. And we took it in our quietness. We watched as the hippies and the demonstrators and the draft dodgers did their thing. And then in 1982, November 13th of 82, they were going to put up this wall. And what was it? It was black, it was dark, and it was underground. And when we came down here, and I'm telling you, I know because I was down here that night, and I was not happy. I said, now it's my turn to demonstrate. Because I want something that's going to be marble and gold leaf, and something that's going to have American flags. And what do we get? More of the same. And we came down, and I remember going to Clyde's and then marching with a bunch of guys. The first time I ever wore even a semblance of what I wore in Vietnam, the semblance of a uniform. And so many other guys said the same thing. And I slept under the Washington Monument on the grass by about 4 in the morning and got up at 7 and walked over to that memorial. And I had a cathartic moment in my life that changed me forever. I stood there at 7 o'clock until they moved me away for the ceremony to start at 9 o'clock, and I don't think the tears stopped flowing, and I am not ashamed to say that. And it changed me, it changed my life. That's our memorial. And it is the greatest memorial for anybody, anywhere, anytime. And every name on that memorial is sacred and important to me, and I'm sure to every one of you, you wouldn't be here. That's what we've got. And it is the most visited memorial in Washington, D.C., and indeed it should be. And from that memorial, I rode down every Memorial Day after that and saw all these guys. And then in 1987, I got a letter before Memorial Day from Artie Muller, and they're going to do something called Rolling Thunder. And I said, oh no, they're going to do this, is not good. And it turned into one of the most amazing things in my lifetime, because not only was the wall there, but Rolling Thunder brought the wall to life. It made it into something that had a spirit and a life and made a statement, even more than the wall all by itself. It gave the wall a voice. It gave it a thunderous voice that everybody could hear. And I said, I didn't want a parade, but this is different. And Artie said, it's not a parade. It's a demonstration. And I said, why is it a demonstration? But I got to tell you something. After 25 years of Rolling Thunder, I could tell you why it's a demonstration. It's a demonstration because of after all we took from the American people that didn't go to war and turned their backs on us when we came back, after all we took, we demonstrated the love for each other. We demonstrated that we cared about each other, and we respected each other for what we did. And we respected those who gave their lives and limbs and went through the hell of being a POW and an MIA. And we said, we're going to stand for something. We stood for something when we went to fight in Vietnam. We stood for America, and we're going to stand for something now. And we brought the POW and MIA issue to a place that had never been before. And we brought respect to the veterans of Vietnam, of that Vietnam War, that this country didn't have before. And now this country not only has respect for the Vietnam veteran, but because of what we did, the POWs, the MIAs, everybody who ever served, everybody who served in the Gulf War, in Kuwait, every war we have, and now in Iraq and Afghanistan. And these troops will never be treated the way we were because of who we are and because of demonstrations that of us, that we demonstrate of how important it is to treat us with the dignity and the respect for the warriors that we were and that these kids are. That's the demonstration that Rolling Thunder is. Now, you know, as Vietnam vets, we know what it's like to fight a war where your country turns its back on the people that we were fighting for and allows those Vietnamese people to die in the South China Sea as they're swimming to safety and freedom. We know what it is. We know what it is to win a war and then be told we lost the war. We never lost the war. We never lost a battle. We never lost a firefight. We lost nothing. This government, these politicians, those draft dodgers and those demonstrators and those hippies, they gave it away. We won it and they gave it up. And now, in today's war in the United States of America, let me tell you something. They can't turn their backs on the war that we're fighting now, because this war did not start on 2011, on 2001, on 9/11. It started way before that. It started back in the 80s. In 1983, 241 Marines killed in Lebanon. 1985, Rob Stedham, Navy diver, on a hijacked TWA plane, thrown off and killed. Rob Stedham, because he wouldn't condemn America. Instead, he got up in a microphone and sang, "God bless America." And let's not forget heroes like Rob Stedham, because I never do. And it continued. And then when we cut the military in half in the mid-90s, because somebody said we had a peace dividend, we cut the military in half, and what did that do? It invited the invasion of America, which we saw on 9/11. We saw the U.S. Cole. We saw the Kobe Towers. We saw it coming in 1993 when they first bombed the World Trade Center. But we turned our backs and made believe it wasn't coming, and now we're starting to do the same thing again. Are we going to let this happen? Because we still have a job to do. As Vietnam veterans, and as we see these kids coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, I want to say one thing. I know I'm going long here, but I want to tell you something. I was recently at a demonstration. I had another epiphany. I love to come to Washington. I've been coming every single Memorial Day, and I love going to Walter Reed and seeing the troops. When I was a kid, we grew up poor. I was in Brooklyn. We lived in the projects, and my dad used to tell me something. He always said to me, "Son, I know you think things are bad, but just remember, I cried because I had no shoes until I met a man who had no feet." And I thought I understood what my father was saying to me. And then a couple of months ago, I thought about it. I was thinking about coming to Rolling Thunder and going to Walter Reed. And I said, wait a minute. I've been to Walter Reed, and I've seen those guys. I've met a man and women and men with no feet and no legs and no arms that lost them in this war. And I didn't cry. I was inspired. I was inspired by those warriors like I have never been inspired in my life. These are fighters, these are warriors, these are Americans, these are patriots. These are the bravest, the most courageous men and women I have ever seen. And I said, I guess my dad was wrong after all these years. because it just made me feel like I had to do something more for America. So I want to leave you with this. I'm proud of being a Vietnam vet. I'm proud that I could participate in Rolling Thunder because this has demonstrated what I want the American people to know. And now I want the American people to know that we can't continue to allow these heroes to go out there with the rules of engagement that constrain them, that make them more afraid of shooting an enemy because they might get sued back here or put in jail by some left-wing, unbelievable government that makes them think that when they're out to beat the enemy, that collateral damage may be worse than seeing their brothers in arms get shot, killed, died, wounded. That's wrong. And we need to put an end to it. We need to put an end to things that say that an article in Rolling Stone magazine could cause a general to retire. We can't accept that. So let's do something about it. Let's make sure that, like Artie said before, when you see weak leadership, when you see the kind of leadership that led us to abandon Vietnam when we won, read their books. Their books will tell you that we won. When you see that kind of leadership, there's one thing to do. Change it. November is coming up. Let's get active. Let's get busy. Let's be the Rolling Thunder that we've been for 25 years. And let's roll over these politicians and roll on to the men and women who are fighting for America today. God bless you. God bless America. God bless Rolling Thunder. Thank you for the honor of allowing me to be here today.